Welcome to Shades of Brown. This highlights on the many issues affecting Africans and people of African descent. I'm your host, Ramato Adao Chekliye. A quick highlight from the previous episode. I'm going to be talking about someone who inspired me recently, and this one is titled Getting Schooled On. My arms were hurting from logging my purchases, so I sighed and just got into the Keke. When we set off, he started a conversation. I don't know why, but I decided to have a full conversation with him. He went further to say that because of the state of the economy, it was important for people to have some of these businesses so that they can make money. He then went on to say that many people were waiting for jobs that may or may not come instead of looking for how to learn something based on the basic needs. He continued by telling me that graduates are the problem of this country. He said that they are very lazy and always want that 150,000 naira job instead of doing the businesses they consider petty and stuff. He went further by saying instead of doing the businesses they consider petty, that they would rather waste away at home doing nothing. That was why graduates are not the richest people in this country. My antenna went up pretty fast. Did this man just diss me and all graduates in Nigeria? I felt like I had to say something or do something to redeem our collective image.
And today's episode.
For 2 whole months, he didn't make up to 5,000 naira. In fact, he said that both of them didn't make up to 5,000 naira collectively. That his friend was tired and said he was going back to Yola. Somehow he convinced his friend and they stayed a couple more months. When his friend couldn't stand it anymore, he returned to Yola. That he couldn't do that because he couldn't return to Yola a failure. So he stayed back, got a table and started doing a laundry business. That he washed clothes at 10 naira per item. It was my turn to interrupt. I was like, 10 naira per cloth? How did you survive on that? He laughed and continued his story. He said that if he washed 100 clothes, he would get 1,000 naira. That it was hard work, but it was work. That he had no house, so he slept on his table and used his ironing clothes to cover himself. That was his life. But he went further to tell me that after a few months, he saved 400,000 naira. That he didn't spend his money on anything and was able to survive on the barest of meals. So when he had saved that money, he took his transport money, 50,000 naira, and went to Yola. That he visited his family and gave them the 50,000 naira. Then he returned to Calabar and continued his work. After more months, he raised another 700,000 naira, and that was when he knew it was time to fully return to Yola. That he packed up his things and came back home. He bought himself a Keke and started doing his business. With the Keke, that he was able to buy a land, to build a house, to get married, and to send his children to school. In fact, that he bought another Keke, the one in which we were in, and that he said he wanted to shock me. That he saves 50,000 naira every month from his Keke. I was shocked. And when he saw my expression from the rearview mirror, he laughed. The cat finally let my tongue go and I asked in a high-pitched voice, "You save 50,000 naira from this Keke every month?" "Yes," he responded. He said that is money he never touches at all. Never. That money is for when he is old. Which tells me that after all his expenses for the month, the Keke still allows him to save enough money for his future. How many graduates would have been willing to do the laundry business or drive a Keke, he asked me. While I was thinking of that, he went further to ask me again, how many graduates would have slept on their work table just to save money? Most of them want to look good. Well, look at how simple I am, but I can tell you that my wife and my children want for nothing. None of my children attend government schools. They are all in private schools. I looked at him. When he mentioned the name of the school that his children attended, I knew it was one of the best in Adamawa. I was more than impressed. By this point, we had just taken the turn to my house. I didn't want to let go. I told him I am a journalist and I would like to write his story. I was very effusive about how impressed I was, and I told him I wouldn't let him go until I got his permission to write his story. I asked for his name and he told me, Muhammad Bala. I asked for one last favor. I needed his picture. He posed with pride with his simple Keke. It was sunny, so I didn't see if the pictures were clear enough. Ramat, you need to buy yourself a good camera. Stop it, cheesecake. Anyway, that's not the issue. I wanted to shake his hand, but I didn't know if he did that, being that he's a Muslim. I stood there and kept thanking him for sharing his story. It wasn't until he left that I went into the house. That was when I realized that the pictures weren't clear enough. Good thing is, you can still see his face. When I left the market, I never knew that I was going to be getting schooled on a keke. I remembered how I almost refused to enter because of 30 naira difference in the fare. On most days, I don't even chat in a keke. If I had done my routine, I would have missed out on a great story. I feel really blessed to have met Muhammad. He inspired me to do better, to work harder, to save more, and best of all, to always remain simple. So what's your excuse for being the way you are? Why are you lying down moaning about the absence of work when there are many opportunities to make money right at your front step? I hope you get inspired by Muhammad's story. 50,000 naira may seem small to you, but save that for a year and you're a millionaire. Don't wait for that government or multinational company job that you think is fitting for your status. Your status means jack if you cannot feed properly, clothe well, pay rent, or help family. Your status also means absolutely nothing if you are a liability with a degree. I always say this. I took a job that was way below my pay grade because I couldn't bear to ask my parents for money for pad, underwear, or transport money, and I sure as hell wouldn't pay my way by being on my back. Has it been hard? Yes. Does it get better? Of course, yes, it does. So again, I ask you, what is your excuse? Get up, put some clothes on that body, put on your thinking cap, and get to work. Ain't nobody got time for a lazy ass degree toting, feeling yourself when you got nothing person, turning down jobs because they do not fit your status. Sure. Please, I hope you get inspired by this. Again, I will say thank you, T.S. Raphael. Okay, yeah, he said it's not T.S. Raphael, so I need to watch myself on that. Thank you, T.S. Ralph, for taking time out to do this for me today. I'm so grateful. You're always wonderful. And thank you, Debola Diane, for letting me use your house as my location of choice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you get inspired as I was by Muhammad. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekday and week ahead, and I hope you have the best out of life. Talk to you next week. Bye.
That's all for this week. Subscribe to the channel for more of Shades of Brown. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/Ochekliye Ramatoada. I'm on Facebook at Ochekliye Ramatoada, on Twitter at Remimah, that is at RAMIMAH, and on Instagram at Miss_Remimah. You can also follow my blog at www.shadesofbrownnigeria.blogspot.com. For inquiries, mail me at ochekliyeramatoada@gmail.com or ramatoadaochekliye@yahoo.com. Talk to you next time. Bye.